Hello, we're going to give it another minute before we get started so everybody who registered gets a chance to sign in. All right, my minute is up. Hello, Pioneer alumni. Thank you for joining us today. This is Travis from the Alumni Engagement Team, and I'm excited to show you a little bit about the LinkedIn Learning Platform in ways that you can use it today to master best practices of working at home, or even focusing on your own professional development to obtain or advance your career. Please feel free at any point of the webinar to submit a question via the Q&A tab on your Zoom controls, and I will take some time at the end to answer those questions that you have. Normally in these live sessions, I would actually answer the questions as they pop up because that's my preferred style, but I also want to be conscious of everybody's time. I know that you might be watching this in your little break between taking care of your kids and also working from home. So we're going to try to keep this as short and sweet as possible. And if you do have any questions at the end that you want answered, feel free to stick around for that answer session portion. Quick note before I get started. So many of the materials that I'm going to be covering in today's session are also available for current students, since current students also receive a free LinkedIn Learning license. But how you activate a student license and how you activate an alumni license are two very different processes. So if you are a current student and you just happen to be tuning into this webinar, the information I'll be presenting today on the activation process will unfortunately not work for you. So I recommend searching our service desk knowledge base on specific instructions on how to activate your student license. With that being said, getting started here, you are seeing what the platform looks like from my personal LinkedIn Learning account. But no need to worry about how to find your way here because I will be going over step-by-step instructions on how to obtain and activate your free alumni license and also where to go to get started using the platform. But first, let me take a moment to share a little bit about the platform itself because you might not have heard of it. You might have heard of lynda.com, but not of LinkedIn Learning. So LinkedIn Learning is actually one of the largest in-demand e-learning platforms available with over 15,000 online courses. Courses range wildly with everything from photography to programming skills and a massive, massive collection of professional development courses to help you advance your career. LinkedIn Learning does require that users link their learning account to their LinkedIn profiles, and there's actually a lot of benefits to doing that, including the ability to add course certificates to your profile and also automatic skill endorsements. Two things that I'll actually end up talking a little bit more about later on if you don't know what it is. You'll also end up finding some courses that count towards professional certificate preparation and also continuing education credits from a number of professional associations and organizations. And I'm not going to take a lot of time to go through all of these because they are easily searchable once you're in the platform, and I'll show you how. So let's talk about how you can activate your free alumni license and start using the platform. Activation is actually really simple. Alumni who are attending today's session and have registered will be receiving an activation email directly to the email address you used to register for this webinar. All you need to do is click the email or open the email that has the subject line unlock access to your LinkedIn Learning account. It will be coming from or appear to be coming from California State University East Bay via LinkedIn Learning. And all you need to do is just click this Get Started button and it will walk you through the process of linking your learning account to your LinkedIn profile. So I cannot show you how to go through this process because I've already linked the two together on my end. So unfortunately, it's a little bit too late for me to show you that. but I'm told that it's a relatively, from what I remember, it's a relatively easy process, and most of our alumni have no problem with the linking. But there is one problem that has occurred, and therefore I would suggest that before you click this link, you make sure that you log out of your LinkedIn profile. I know if you're like me, I tend to stay logged into a lot of my stuff in separate tabs, and this can potentially be a problem if you use two different email addresses. You know, one email address for your LinkedIn Learning account, a totally different email address for your LinkedIn account. You'll still be able to link the two together, even with the different email addresses, but there may be some confusion in the system if you're already logged into your LinkedIn profile when you click this link. So just go ahead and log out of it and then just follow the process of logging into your LinkedIn profile, and everything should be linked with no problem. Now, once you do get everything linked up, making your way to your LinkedIn Learning account is actually really easy since it's linked to your LinkedIn profile. All you need to do is just visit linkedin.com. And once you get logged in, which is what my browser is trying to do right now, you'll actually notice this learning icon up in the upper right-hand corner. Clicking that icon will actually take you to your LinkedIn Learning homepage. Of course, my computer chooses to be slow, right, as I'm trying to get this all out to you. All right, so your homepage is actually going to look a little bit different from mine because I've already heavily invested some time into my own professional development. So as you use the system and build out your LinkedIn profile, LinkedIn Learning will begin to suggest some courses that relate to your previous courses you've taken, or ones that are related to the experience that you indicate on your LinkedIn profile. So that's why you'll notice that right here, there's some top picks for Travis. That's all based upon what's in my profile and other courses that I have taken previously. Now your homepage is also going to display any courses that you have in progress, any that you have saved for later. So as you browse around, you may notice some courses that you're interested in but just don't have time to complete at the moment. And then it also shows some recommendations from your organization. Now the recommended courses is a good place to get started if you aren't quite sure where to begin. So if you are getting started in the job search process or are looking to change or progress your career, we have a number of recommended collections available for alumni on career planning, job searching, job application process, interviewing, and getting started in a new career. Now, given the current situation, we have also recommended a learning path called remote working, setting yourself and your teams up for success. So you may be wondering, what is the difference between a collection, like the application process that you can see here, and a learning path, like the remote working one. And it's actually very easy to explain. So a collection is literally a collection of different courses, and you can complete these in any order that you want. You don't need to even go through all of them. You could just choose to do the ones that are interested, that you most directly relate to what you need from the system. Now, a learning path is a little bit different. So a learning path, it also consists of multiple courses, but this is in a very structured way. So each course builds upon the other. And in order to progress from one course to the next, you need to complete the prerequisite course. So it builds very well upon like a structured specific learning goal. So it's kind of similar to prerequisite courses from when you were a student. You need to have completed the course that comes before the first, before progressing to the second course, and then you need to do the second before the third before the fourth, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure it's a flashback for many of you to when you were in school. Now, the value of a collection is the ability to pick and choose from what you need the most, while the value of the learning path is having a directed path to follow towards a broader learning goal. So I suggest that you don't really limit yourself and you just try both to see what best fits your needs. I find that if you are more experienced with a certain area, then probably, taking a look at some collections or just individually searching for some courses that relate to your needs is probably the better way to go. But if you don't really know kind of the direction that you need to follow in order to achieve the goal that you're setting out to achieve, that's where maybe a learning path might be a little bit better because it's more directed. So if you are happening to look for a specific skill, you do always have the search functionality. So for example, let's say you want to learn the programming language Python. So doing a search on Python will bring up all those related materials that are available on the platform. Over here, you'll notice that there are 105 courses, 3,254 different videos, 3 learning paths, which is quite a bit of content. So here you can browse for what best relates to your needs, or you can use the filter tool to narrow down your results by either the type of content that you're looking for, the level of experience that you have, so you can choose beginner, intermediate, or advanced. You can choose specific software, which for this, of course, it's going to be Python, the primary one. And you can even use custom tags or even continuing education units. If there's some professional organizations that are offering continuing education credits for learning Python, that's going to show up inside this area. So like I had mentioned earlier, how those continuing education credits are very easily found inside the system. This is how you would determine, which courses would qualify towards those continuing education credits. Now, one quick note about the differences between the type of content. So only completing a course will allow you to display a certificate of completion for courses. You can watch a number of videos taken from multiple courses, but unless you complete all the videos in a specific course, you will not actually receive the certificate or the skill endorsement. That's something that's just available through the courses. So while it's nice to maybe watch like a quick video on something specific so you can maybe brush up on a skill, you're not really going to get any credit for that unless you complete the whole entire course that is that video is a part of. So speaking of certificates and skill endorsements, I think that right now is a good time to let me show you where those show up on your LinkedIn profile. So I'm going to navigate to my profile real quickly. Now, quick note is after you complete every single course, it is going to ask you if you want the certificate displayed on your profile or not. And you do have the freedom to say yes or no. I would argue that if it's displaying a hard skill that's going to make you more competitive for a specific job, then absolutely display that certificate on your profile. And if not, if it's more just like general professional development stuff or things you don't want people to necessarily know that you're trying to learn, you don't need to display those certificates, and you can always go back and change that later on as well. So on my profile, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down towards the bottom until I find the licenses and certifications. And this is an area that will display all the certificates after you have completed them and chose for them to be displayed on your profile. Now scrolling down a little bit further, you will end up seeing the skills area on my profile where you'll see the endorsements that I've received. Now, if you are wondering how to find out what skills are covered in specific courses, I will go ahead and show you that. I'm gonna just, use one that I have used before. So let's just do job search strategies. Why not? So every course that you take on LinkedIn Learning, okay, let's just use the open example. For some reason, that specific course didn't open up. Okay, I'm gonna pause this because I don't want it to play. Pause. Okay. All right, so every course that you visit will actually have an overview page. So if you scroll down on the overview page, you will end up seeing some information about the course. There'll be exercise files, learning groups, learning objectives, some stuff about the specific presenter on this topic. You'll see some demographics on the people who've watched this course. And right here is where you will see these skills covered in the course. Okay, so this course specifically is covering programming JavaScript and the Python programming language. All right, so going back to my profile, I wanted to show you how these skill endorsements show up. I know I showed you where, but I didn't show you how. So looking down here, all of these skills that have a assigned number to them, those are actually skills that specific people endorsed you for. So it will show, all the people who've endorsed me for social media marketing skills, for example. Where the ones will show up that are part of the courses is they won't have a number associated with them. So you see these right here, like personal branding, LinkedIn, enterprise marketing, life skills. Those don't have a specific number next to them. And that's partly because it wasn't a specific person endorsing me. It's the LinkedIn learning system endorsing me. So that's how it will show up on your LinkedIn profile. So what's really important about this is that there's the HR side of LinkedIn, and how recruiters are identifying potential talent is oftentimes in trying to figure out what are the skills that people have, what are the experience that they have. So by building out your skills and making sure that they show up on your profile as endorsements is actually really, really important, because it does make it more likely that if someone in recruiting is doing a search to try to find the perfect candidate, you want to make sure to show up in those search results. So making sure you display those skills is a great way of potentially being noticed on LinkedIn. Now, I won't say if it's a for sure way of being noticed on LinkedIn, because the more heavily you use LinkedIn, the better results you get. That includes posting articles, posting updates, commenting on people's articles, following influencers. This is just like one little thing that can maybe end up helping you out a little bit more. So with that, we have covered the basics on how to activate your LinkedIn Learning license and how to get started using LinkedIn Learning. So I just need to make sure that I follow through and give you one last disclaimer about the alumni licenses. So licenses are limited. We have a very limited number. We have over 130,000 alumni, so of course it's cost prohibitive for us to buy 130,000 plus licenses. So because of that, they are available on a first come, first served basis. Because of that limited availability, we will be use is going to be assessed on a quarterly basis, and licenses are going to be deactivated after 3 months of no use. Those who do have their licenses deactivated are, of course, welcome to submit a request to have it reactivated, but reactivation will also be subject to license availability at the time of the request. So, if you do find that for a period of time you stop using it and you try to go in to use it again, and you're not able to access it, just contact us. We can make sure that you get added back in there. But if you stop using it for 3 months and you don't try to complete any videos or any courses, then we're going to end up removing that access again. We also ask that if you receive access to LinkedIn Learning through your employer, which is becoming very common. I know here at Cal State East Bay, we actually do get access as via staff account for LinkedIn Learning. We just ask that you kindly let us know that you won't need your alumni license anymore. So that way, we can be very considerate of other alumni who may be waiting to utilize a license. Um, so, we just want to make sure that it can be used by someone else if you're not currently using it. So with that, I'd like to thank you for attending today's webinar. Feel free to stick around if you have any questions or are awaiting an answer for a question that you have already asked. I am going to